If you send me the message, I can. Yeah, yeah. All right, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second. I don't even know. Second season of Little Larry and the Coach. We got the GM with us, TJ Lyons.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Larry?
And then right before we get started today, I want to thank our viewers. Number one, I got a new setup today, so everything's going to look a little wonky. But I want to thank our viewers. Number one, because I'm going to read some analytics and stats to you, as well as the GM and the coach for the past seasons, because we're coming close to some Twitch milestones. So number one,
Can we get off the wood, the Doogs?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I
He's not on today.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I'll work on that. But yeah, there's some analytics that I want to. We all miss the Dukes. We will get the Dukes back on for sure. With the GM. All right, but some of the analytics that we're seeing. We're coming up on 250 total hours of streamed content.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So we're about 20 hours away from that. We hit a milestone of having five people talking consecutively in our chat at one time, which is pretty good. We have 26 followers right now, and if we reach 10 people chatting at one time, then we unlock VIP badges, which will allow us to assign VIP honors to some of our closest followers. Jay Halter 10 will be on that list. Tony Overby will be on that list. Scary Mofo will be on that list. So Coach A Archer, of course, will be on that list. So yeah, so we definitely we're starting to hit some milestones, and I want to thank the community for lending a hand there. But I'm just going to go ahead and take a stab and say our viewership's going to probably be down a little bit because of the Democratic debate tonight. So we're going to have a lot of MAGA people on here. I know Jay Halter 10's on, so go make America great again. So we're supporting Republicans tonight.
I'd figure, I'd figure Jay Holder 10 would have been watching that tonight.
Yeah, but he's here for LLATC.
Maybe he is though.
LLATC directly impacts Jay Halter 10 though. It's his day to day, so that's why he joins. Since the last time we talked, the NFL is red hot with some trades right now.
Yeah. Did you just see that one that came across?
Jalen Ramsey is going to the Rams.
Yeah.
How does that impact the Rams?
Yeah,
though?
for 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick.
That's crazy.
It just shores up their second.
But I don't. Is that something that is a need for them? I feel like the Todd Gurley situation is something that they need to correct more than anything. I think running the ball because I think Jared Goff's really good with a quarterback or with a running back. I'm sorry, but when he doesn't have a stud, running back, I think he exposes some of his weakness, and so.
Yeah, it's a passing league though too. You got to have enough secondary help.
Tell the Indianapolis Colts that. Tell the Ravens that. Tell the 49ers it's a passing league.
Yeah, I know, but where the Rams are currently.
Yeah. Well, so you got Jalen Ramsey. The Ravens made a trade that it makes sense because their secondary has been losing them games. And in the league, in the division that they're in, not saying the AFC North is good by any means, but you have top receivers like Juju, which he doesn't have. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a quarterback throwing him the ball right now. You have OBJ. You got Jarvis Landry. AJ Green's coming back for the Bengals, so they need to have
He'll be traded.
AJ Green, yeah. Do you think he'd be?
Can
you trade a player
traded.
on injury?
Yes, you can.
So
he'll be traded.
Did you happen to watch the Monday night game last night?
Bits and pieces of it.
So I think the ongoing dilemma we talked about this earlier in the year, and I'm going to bring it back up. It's crazy to me how much the refs are impacting the game of football right now.
I'm not going to get into that.
I am, because last night,
Go ahead.
literally it ruined the game. Because Green Bay, so I'll lay down the situation. Earlier in the game, the defensive end for the Detroit Lions, who have never been called for hands to the face, got called for hands in the face, and it was essentially I'll try to mimic what happened. It was essentially because he was posting up on the lineman up by his shoulder pad, and the lineman kept throwing his head back, like to I guess add some oomph to it, and the back judge kept throwing the flag, saying that it was hands to the face. So he threw the flag there on the last drive of the game. With 1:30 left, it was a 3rd and long situation. Gets called for hands to the face again, or maybe even 30 because it's a 5-yard penalty, right? Or is it an automatic first down?
It's a 5-yard penalty, I think, in the NFL. I don't know the NFL rules to a T.
Yeah. But so he calls it again on the last drive of the game for Green Bay, who was down at the time 22-20. It would have set up like a 35 to 40-yard field goal, which in Lambeau Field still is a difficult field goal, but more importantly, it would have gave Matt Stafford 90 seconds to go down the field and win the game on either a field goal or a touchdown. Who's been red hot. The hands to the face happened again for the second time. Bad call, and ended up costing the Detroit Lions the game. That happened earlier this year, impacted my team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, where one of our linebackers got pushed down, started the hit on the quarterback at the waist, slid down to the knees, got a roughing the passer call in the 4th quarter. Automatic first down, kept the drive going. When it was a 3rd and long, it would have been a 3rd.
Yep.
And it would have been a 4th and like 24. Instead, it turns into a 1st and 10. So it happens there, and then you had Jay Halder 10, if you could help me out here, you had a game where they called 10 consecutive. Oh, the Ravens and Bengals. They called 6 consecutive flags in a row.
I was watching that game.
So, I mean, I don't understand.
Jets Cowboys is what it was.
Oh, it was Jets Cowboys. Okay. I don't understand why the refs want to get to bring themselves into let the players play. That's I feel like if outside of blatant things like coming in, but let the players play. I mean, I think it's ruining the game. It's allowing too many teams to lose games they shouldn't have lost.
I have no comment.
No comment. Well, I hope that the people that are tuned into the chat right now can comment, and this is again we're starting to find GM's weak spots. With the coach last year, he nearly couldn't talk about anything. So Jay Halder 10 said, would the GM ever comment on the level of the ref skills?
Here's my thing. Here's my thing is they got a job to do. They're doing their job, but they're taking it more.
Time out.
Go ahead.
They don't have a job to do because their real job is something else, being a lawyer, being a business owner. If their real job was reffing in the NFL, then I think you correct some of these issues.
But it's a job they have is to officiate NFL football or
a side gig that they do Saturday and Sunday, and sometimes Thursday and Monday.
It's a job.
Okay.
And they're doing their job to the best they can, and I think right now in the NFL there's some officials that are taking it too far.
Why do you think they
calling
take it
weak penalties?
Why do you think?
I think the reason why they take it too far is they're getting evaluated too hard and critiqued too much.
Have you ever been evaluated?
Yes, I get evaluated every other week right now.
So what's the evaluation process? How does that work?
For high school?
Yeah.
They pretty much just watch all of us, see where our positions are on plays, what did we see on certain plays, what our thinking was when we threw a flag, if we didn't throw a flag, why didn't we? Just those natures.
So do they bring every other week? Is there a ref in the stands that are essentially grading you guys?
They're up in the press box usually. The only reason why we get evaluated every other week right now is because we're in the Ohio Capital Conference, and they have evaluators almost at every game.
Now, is that a ref that's evaluating you, or is it some?
Yeah, it's a retired ref.
A retired ref. Is that something that you think you would do after leaving the ref?
Probably.
How do you get that gig?
That you just assigners are always looking for those guys to go evaluate and watch guys referee.
Now, is it up? In high school, is it up to you to be evaluated and then put your name in the hat to do a playoff game or even like a state championship game, or is that something that you automatically get assigned to and you have to do?
Coaches evaluate you on playoff games and stuff like that. They have to grade you after every game, and then you get more points. It's like a point scale more than anything. You get more points if you know more people higher up in the chain that have votes and stuff like that.
And how many playoff games have you done?
2.
In the 17 years?
Yep.
Are you just pissing off
too many coaches? No, you got to know the right people, and to be quite frank, the back judge position that I do, obviously they're looking for 140-pound slim guys.
So why haven't you gone into the box, or why haven't you been a back judge? Why don't you side judge, things like that?
That's because the crew I'm on, we all stay at the same position. We don't move around. But in probably 2 years, I'll probably move an umpire.
So it's up to the individual crew to
Yeah,
determine
yeah,
if you want
up
to
to the
move each
individual.
game.
Yeah, yeah. But those guys have been there in those positions, so.
And are you still with 17 years of experience? Are you the young buck on the staff?
Yes, I am.
Wow. How
The next
do
guy is 5 years older.
how do you get assigned initially? How do you get assigned? Do you just find somebody that you like and say, "Hey, do you have a spot
Yeah,
opening?" Like a job interview almost.
yeah. This was my dad's. The crew I work with on Friday nights is my dad's old Friday night crew. So obviously, I'd known them guys for a while. I took over for someone else on the crew when he had to give it up, and then the other younger guy that's with us now took over for my dad. So
And I think we have a big announcement, right? Next Thursday.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, but you just kept going into it. Is you guys can do your own critiquing of the GM next Thursday night on the old Thursday Night Lights on the
Thurs
CW.
on the CW. So is there a way to for the Twitch viewers? Is that something that you think I'm going to need to stream?
You could stream it if you want.
What time's the game start?
7 o'clock kick.
7 o'clock kick. We're going to have
We're
LLATC
we're
to
at Hill
CW.
Bradley.
Good game or no? Is
It's gonna be an off game. Hillier Bradley, I think. What week would that be? Week 9. Hillier Bradley will probably be 1-7, and the other team, Thomas Worthington, will probably be 0-8.
but it'd be a close game between them at least.
It'll be a stupid game. It'll
Well,
be more babysitting and more stupid penalties than anything.
my goal for you is to throw a flag and look at the camera and give like an LLATC timeout or something.
Negative side. Give you that sideline warning.
Yeah, give me the sideline warning.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing. The
Even though I can't where I'm at.
That's true. The now I will stream that game. So 7 o'clock on the CW, we will have that
Next
game
Thursday
streamed.
night.
Next Thursday night, we will stream Lil Larry the coach and watch the GM.
Usually
live.
I'm not in the pit. Usually I'm not in the picture a whole lot. So
I know I'll have to come in here and like label you a couple of times. I mean,
yeah.
they'll probably talk about the refs at a time or two during the game. I will give an update. We had
Not me, but
well, no, they'll talk about the refs.
they'll talk
right?
about the white hat.
Well, they'll talk about your crew, right? They'll say and refing
Yeah, just
the
the
game
white
tonight.
hat. They won't say any of that usually. They usually just announce the referee, like when he's given the penalty. When he first does it, they'll say his name.
And then real quick, just a quick update. We had Doug Dusenberry on last week, coach for Newark. He knew it was going to be a tough one. It was tough. 49-0. They lost to New Albany. And Newark only was able to manage to produce 93 total yards of offense. Their quarterback had 3 interceptions. It's a rough. So he's spot on with how do you turn around a team, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. Do you agree with some of the comments he was making with keeping the offense the same? Like he said, for example, New Albany's always ran the wing T, regardless of what their skill set. Or do you think that a roster needs, or your playbook needs to change to the roster?
I think there's that balance in there. If you, such as a New Albany or a Johnstown, when you come into a season every year, you've ran the ball, and Johnstown obviously now up to the line, they're off overbalanced on one side, where the other tackle goes over, so unbalanced, they call it technically. So Johnstown's never going to change.
Yeah.
And neither will New Albany. Guys that have done what they've done for years
That's
will
all
never
they know.
change. Just that's just the way they are. Even Johnstown down through their junior high teams, they run up to the line and snap it just like their varsity does. So
That's good.
they're getting their guys ready. They're getting their guys ready. I think that's what you got to do is establish that base offense type of thing and build off of that and hit some different things every year in there.
Yeah,
Base it off your players.
because that's one of the biggest arguments I always had when we were playing, when I was playing for Lakewood, was that there he is. Welcome to the channel, T Grim. Uh, One of the biggest
I was
things.
just looking at Newark's remaining schedule. It's not pretty.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not pretty. I think they're probably the weakest team in that conference, right?
One of the weakest.
And why do you?
Franklin Heights is usually weak.
Okay, but
They got them to end the season.
what I was getting to was it's one of the things that I wish we would have saw when at Lakewood was the ability to run the same offense all the way down through to the big league program, at least from the basic level, because that way every year when you're coming in as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you're not having to go over the blocking scheme or learn how to do the 4-3 defense or whatever, just base package stuff. Your guys already remember that because they've been doing it for 10 years straight. So
Correct.
So all of 2 days is, we were implementing a new playbook or a new offense or a new defense, whereas teams that are actually good, like Licking Valley, have been doing it for so many years. Their kids can hit the ground running, going 11 on 11, 7 on 7.
Yeah. I just think you got to have that base offense like that and build off of it.
Yeah. And then
I think that's the thing you don't change, but you try to adapt little plays here and there based off your team.
And that's what we're seeing with Oshkosh football right now. Is you're starting to see the coach. He brought it up when he was here. They're starting to adapt the game based off their skill set. So I don't know if you saw they got number 17 back.
Yes, I did. I saw that.
And so he was pretty big into the game last week. WEAC's here and they're rolling, bud. Look, this thing's shining way too bright. I'm gonna put the night light on here, yellow it out. But
and just since Jay Halter just brought it up, the Nationals are up 7-0. By the way.
Yeah, it's game over. They're going to the. I'm glad. I'm pulling for them to be the team to win it all.
Cinderella.
Yeah, that's. I think it would be amazing. Literally, if you think about their playoff journey.
Let me ask you something. How would you feel if you were Bryce Harper right now? Take away the money aspect. Take away the money aspect because obviously he's laughing because he got the payday.
Yeah, that's how I would feel. That's the problem.
Do you think deep down inside of me, it's like, God dang it?
Well, no, because that's the problem with sports right now, right? Is that everybody, the top. We'll get into it, but that's the problem with sports right now. Is it's all about the money. It's money over championships, and you're exactly right.
Yep.
Because let's stay with current events right now. You got LeBron, who literally just came out and supported the Chinese government, essentially, because
that was crazy.
Because he all he wants is NBA to be sheltered because they know that NBA is huge in China. Taiwan number 1, China number 5. So anyways, you got NBA is huge in China, and then number 2, he has Space Jam 2 coming out, and if NBA gets taken away, then there goes his money. It's something really embarrassing. The USA Today actually put out an article about it, and basically how they said that the difference between Muhammad Ali and LeBron James is that Muhammad Ali stood up for something that didn't matter. Money wasn't an issue to him. He stood up for what he thought was right, whereas LeBron is standing up for this essentially because it impacts his bank account. He wants to be the first $1 billion athlete, and that impacts his bank account, and it was upsetting, especially as somebody that's an Ohio boy, got Cleveland a championship. It's very difficult to root for LeBron right now.
Coach A. Archer loves him.
I would like to see his thoughts after this. I think NBA has a bigger, in my opinion, it's a bigger mess
I
on
haven't
their
liked
hand.
him since he's been in Cleveland.
Back to Cleveland, you mean?
I haven't liked him since day one.
Day one in Cleveland the first time or the second time?
Yes, both.
Both. Wow. Yes. But
I just know that it's just the type of guy he is. He's all about himself.
yep, that it definitely is shown. I think the NBA has a bigger problem, or at least should have a bigger problem on their hands than the NFL during the kneeling during the national anthem. Don't you?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. It's just very hard to dictate that or control that.
Yeah, I mean, because you're impacting freedom of speech, which is an American right.
Correct.
That no other country really has, especially China.
Yeah.
And and you come out and you have the NBA and all these other corporations like even Blizzard right now has a huge I'm a gamer, so I know all about this, but they had a Hearthstone player, a competitive player who won a tournament, stood up for what Hong Kong is doing, and then was removed from the tournament, didn't get paid, didn't get anything, and it turned bad. Real quick on the NFL national anthem thing. The NFL, I read this a long time ago. In like the 1970s or 1980s, the players used to never come out during
Correct.
the national anthem. But in order to support...
Most high school football teams don't.
Oh, really? I can't remember if we did or not.
But
But
there's no, you didn't. Guaranteed.
okay. Yeah, so...
Jay Holder, you can correct us if I'm wrong.
But during but then to support the troops during like the Gulf War or something, team ran through the band and then they played.
I don't think you played the national anthem like that. I could be wrong.
But anyway, so anyways, the to support the troops like during the Gulf War or something like that, or Vietnam War, then they had the players stand out on the field. So they created their own problem. So all they had to really do is make it a rule now, have the team sit in the locker room again. What's the big deal? And then
there's only one league that I know of in Central Ohio that makes their teams out for the national anthem, and that's the Licking County League now. Like the OCCs, all the Columbus schools do not have to be out for the national anthem.
Is that a coach's decision, or is that like
I would say it's more of a coach's decision. Like the majority of the Columbus teams that we do national anthems usually 7 to 8 minutes before kickoff, which we're still getting the teams out of the locker room at that point.
Yeah.
But the Licking County League, they got to be on the field 5 minutes prior. Then the band plays the national anthem, and we're ready.
Plus, the problem with the NBA is, in my opinion, is the NFL. The one thing the NFL does right is that it's based around the NFL as a whole, or based around the team as a whole. So you're not talking about the superstars as the only thing that's holding up the league. If the Pittsburgh Steelers are losing literally all their players. Stephon Tuitt is out for the season, their best defensive player. So now we've lost Big Ben and Stephon Tuitt, our best players on both sides of the ball. But
next man up.
Well, exactly. That's what they're going to have to do. However, if they lost all their players, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be fine. They still have their fan base. The fan base doesn't revolve around one player. Whereas the NBA have marketed their players, and you could care less what team they're on, and that's why it's essentially playing musical chairs with their teams, and
every off season.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the small market teams unless they
can't compete.
Unless they're the lottery that year, where if
you still can't compete being in the lottery because that's one superstar compared to 3 superstars.
Well, I'm saying the lottery in terms of free agency. So if the Greek Freak, if all the superstars want to play with the Greek Freak, and he's like, okay, come to Milwaukee, and then all of a sudden
They
have
would
a
never
roster
do
for
that.
that's. But it happened in Cleveland, right?
There are certain cities that it would happen in.
Cleveland's definitely not one of them.
Cleveland only had 3 max superstars,
Which is enough to win a championship.
and one of them was already on the team because he was drafted. So technically, they only got 2 of them in free agency.
So
And the only reason why Kevin Love came is because he was chasing a ring.
So do you think the Greek Freak, if they drafted him and then he could pull in 2 superstars to play with them?
It'd be very difficult in Milwaukee, I think.
You know what? I could care less about the NBA. I don't even want to talk about it.
Exactly. When you get back to I pulled up the standings, but
okay, let's get back to the WEAC. So right now,
that's kind of where we're at until I jumped in.
Yeah. So I was saying,
did you pull up the standings?
I don't have the standings. I could pull it up. Let me work on
5 out of the 8 teams in the WEAC have a winning record.
The WEAC is super strong this year.
Yep. Platteville's 4-1, 1-1 in the WEAC though.
Yep.
UA Claire 1-1 in the conference. Lacrosse 1-1, and yeah, and Stevens Point has a losing record overall, so they're terrible. Because those teams don't play anybody at the beginning of the year.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I pulled up the WEAC schedule. Yeah, so or not the schedule. Standings. Yeah, so Whitewater definitely is the team to beat. I mean, they're the number 3 or number 4 team in the country, and then Oshkosh is right there in the WEAC, right? So, Eau Claire just lost to Whitewater, so they're good this year. Coach said. I was talking to him a little bit about that. Obviously, the coach.
It's a home game.
Just beat Stevens Point, and then Platteville is always the next closest, and they lost last week.
And that's on the road. That's gonna be the tough one.
Who did Platteville just lose to?
That's good.
Oh, Platteville lost to Whitewater. Platteville lost to Whitewater, and Eau Claire lost to Whitewater the week before that.
21-14. They lost to Whitewater.
So
obviously a close one.
Yeah. And then if we're looking into the next couple sweet infograph, thank you, Scary Mofos. Change your name, please. If we look at the upcoming games, so they just played Stevens Point, and then we have Eau Claire.
UA Claire's next.
We have Eau Claire this week, and that's going to be a damn good game. That's
a W. That's a W.
well,
Oshkosh by 21 plus.
So, a little fun fact about Eau Claire, right, is that Eau Claire, I think the last year was the first time Eau Claire was able to beat Oshkosh on their home field in 23 years.
It's not going to happen again.
I don't think so.
Not even close.
I think Oshkosh is definitely rolling. My theory was wrong, however. Of last week, we had the first time that Oshkosh won the game and not win time of possession. And
oof.
Well,
they hit on a couple big plays.
Right? No, they had an interception return for a touchdown, and then they hit Kobe Berghammer hit Riley Callis for a 43-yarder. But Oshkosh had
a 1-second player of the drive.
Yeah, so Oshkosh had 17 points in the second quarter, and that pretty much decided the game.
Yeah. I think they're going to steamroll through this upcoming week.
Also,
on Saturday.
Real quick, what's going on with your camera and your Wi-Fi You have about as good an internet as the coach.
I think it's lagging tonight. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Cameras should be good.
Camera is not good.
Why?
Mia Moore's probably downloading porn, huh?
Probably.
Man. Well, time to update your service. What do you guys get? What do you guys get there in Hebron, Ohio?
I don't know what we get.
100 download.
She does all that.
Okay.
Probably.
Respect.
I just pay the bill.
Respect. I mean, because we have some viewers, and God bless their soul, that live all the way out in Utah, and they're limited on how much data they use per month. I've never heard of a package where you are limited by how much you're actually allowed. So there are certain situations where there'll be a big patch in a game that we're playing or something, and he couldn't download it until next month because he's already hit his max. It's pretty embarrassing.
That's crazy.
But so baseball. Let's hit this. I want to get to the big topic of the night after baseball, and let's stay on football for a little bit. So, and then we'll go to baseball, and then I want to come back to football for the big topic. So we have I want to go back to the NFL, and then we'll go to the WEAC real quick. So the NFL, what do you think of the trading? It used to be foreign to the NFL, right? You never see players traded during the course of the year.
It's definitely heated up over the past couple years.
Why do you think?
I just think there's GMs now that are younger or transitioning their ways to the just trading during the season. I think you had the older GMs years ago where they knew they just didn't do it. They just stuck with what they knew. So that's what I'm thinking.
And why do you think? And you think that's the? And you think that's why? I think it's more. I think it's more player empowerment now. So far, what you're seeing is you saw Minka Fitzpatrick get traded to the Steelers basically because he said he wanted out of Miami. You have Jalen Ramsey that did the exact same thing now that's going to the Rams because he wants out of Jaguars. Antonio Brown, another one, he got traded.
And if you can add value to a player and then won their couple last years their contract or try to dump their salary,
sure,
you're going to try to do it now.
Yeah, that's what the big dilemma with the Steelers are. They're still paying Ryan Shazier, Antonio Brown, and not paying Antonio Brown, but they got penalties for his trade, and then Ben Roethlisberger.
Correct. So
nearly 40% of their salary cap is locked up in players that don't even play for them. Which is
I'm going to throw a little widget out there, a little intel information. Be ready for another coaching trade eventually.
Well, so let's talk about that. So there's two main stories that are still out there. Is this week the deadline for trading?
Or is it next week?
So the Steelers are on a bye week.
I think it's middle of next week. I think it's middle of next week because the Browns are on a bye week too.
Yep.
So they're going to be very hot and heavy.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting about these two rumors, right? Is both the Browns and the Steelers are on a bye week. So there's a 2-week time frame.
The Browns are going to go get offensive linemen this week.
They're going to
go
get Trent Williams.
There is no question asked. They're going to get Trent Williams.
What though?
I strongly believe Dorsey will unload a draft to go get him. That is the weak link that we have currently. It's the spot that kills us, and he's going to go improve it. That goes hand in hand with an offensive line.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Joe Flacco wasn't no Super Bowl quarterback when they won the Super Bowl. He had a great offensive line, and they could run the football. And they had one hell of a defense.
I 100% agree. I think Nick Chubb's the best player on your team.
Yep. Hands down.
And I think that you have a great supporting cast for Baker to make plays, but I do I agree that you're I do believe that. Do you think Nick Chubb or Myles Garrett, who's the best player? As a Browns fan,
Nick Chubb. No questions asked.
No questions asked.
He's the heart and soul of the team.
There you go. Hot
Hands
take.
down.
Hot take. Anyways, but I think they're gonna move to get Trent Williams. What do you think about trading OBJ for Trent Williams? That would essentially,
if that's the only thing you give up, yes.
So they actually might get something in return because OBJ cost you what, 2 first-round draft picks?
I forget how many it was.
To get, but that was the rumor out there because you still have Antonio Callaway.
Which the dues ain't very high of him, but
No.
I kind of like him. I mean, I know his past and stuff like that. I mean, everyone has mistakes in life, but just the way it is right now in the NFL, it's just a bunch of thugs. But I like him, but we'll see.
Yep. So that's trade rumor number 1. Obviously, it's no shocker. The Browns definitely need one more offensive lineman to be good.
Yep. I think having OBJ though helps you offensively, just because he's got to be almost double covered.
Yeah.
Even though he's been dropping passes past couple games.
What's interesting too to think about,
and then makes ridiculous catches.
Yeah. That's just fundamentals. He's too flashy.
Yep.
It's like practice the basics and then let your flashiness show off. But that's a different discussion. But somebody, I was listening to an retired NFL offensive lineman this week, and he basically said no offense, like very rarely in the NFL or even no matter where you are, do you have a stud offensive line all the way across the board. He goes, in order to be a good offensive line, you need 3 out of the 5 positions to be above average. If you have that, then you're going to be good. Right now, he thinks that the Browns have 2, which is their center and their left guard.
And they traded their backup center away today, too.
The Browns did?
Thank God. Yeah, thank God.
To what? What did they get in return?
They traded him to the Rams. I forget what they got for him. I think it's a draft pick to be named later. So it's going to be one of those conditional,
like a 6,
if he
7.
plays any games type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. A 7th, that could be a 6 or whatever.
But then he said, but it's important though. So he thinks that the center and the left guard are good on the Browns. But he said it's very important then to get a left tackle. So then that way you know that your left side is shored up, and then you can use that to your strength because you know you have a strong left side that maybe you could run to the weak side, or you utilize your strong side to
I think you would utilize your strong side. Obviously, this could be a question that we can ask Coach A. Archer eventually, but I think you'd utilize your strong side because defensively, you're probably going to overreact that and put your best defensive lineman on the weak side.
Yeah. I mean, because
that's you want to run away from their best player.
Yeah, because the right end is usually your best end. That's like where Joey Bosa plays.
Correct.
And so he's facing the worst of the offensive tackles because usually your blind side left tackle is your number 1 tackle, right?
Yeah. Correct.
So that would be interesting. And then
I'm going to comment on T. Grimm's comment here about Baker Mayfield falling off the map, averaging 2 interceptions a game. These interceptions that he's throwing are balls that these receivers should be catching that are going off their hands and ending up in defenders' laps.
Okay, but here's the question. You have Aaron Rodgers who's throwing to freaking nobody, and he's making plays with them. So what's the difference between Aaron Rodgers' TD to interception ratio and Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield's literally throwing to superstars.
And they're dropping the football. And it's ending up in defenders' hands.
So do you think
That's all I'm going to say about it.
do you think it's a receiver problem, or do you think it's quarterback?
Yes,
Okay.
receiver problem right now.
Okay. So let's.
I've watched these games. I know what the heck's going on.
Oh, I've watched them too
It don't
because
take
they're
it don't take a genius to figure it out.
it, they're talking a whole lot of stuff about the Browns and creating a lot of buzz, but then they got to
I
do
mean
some
they
catching
I mean
up. I
they
don't.
still can create a lot of buzz. I mean the Steelers and the Browns. I mean pretty much the whole entire AFC North had a opening schedule right out of the gate.
Very tough, yeah. I mean, it's
So I mean the Brown schedule from after we play the Patriots next week. I mean it goes significantly better.
then,
I mean you could almost run the table after the Patriots.
sure. I mean, I think this Denver game will essentially be their year. Coming off the bye
Who's-
week, the Browns.
They play at New England coming off the bye week, buddy.
Oh, they don't. When's the Denver after New England?
3 games down the road because they play the Bills after New England.
Are you sure? I thought.
Almost positive, buddy.
Let me look this up.
I'm not looking it up.
I am.
Go ahead.
10-27. No, so they go Patriots, Broncos, Bills.
Sorry, the Broncos are in between.
So I think
I knew it was the Patriots right after the bye.
I think
I only look 1 game ahead to the next game.
I think the Broncos.
I don't look ahead.
I think the Broncos are will make. Or
Is that
break
in
the
Denver?
season. Yes.
That's bad.
What happened today?
I'm not talking about it.
Or I think is that something that we're going to be talking about later?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
still heated.
Still heated about it. Okay. We'll get to it. That's the topic of discussion for the end of the chat today. But no, so I think that's a make or break for the Browns.
Yeah.
Is that Denver game, because that's a team they should beat. It's in a very hard location.
They need to go 2-1. They need to go 2-1 in those 3 games
Yeah, I mean, I think they could
to have a shot.
I think they could beat New England because they seem to be a team that steps up to their competition.
The big teams, yes.
But they're just falling a little short against the Rams, against Seattle now. Obviously, 49ers beat the brakes off of them. But
Yeah. They just took us out to the woodshed.
yeah. But I think they could step up and they have a chance to beat New England. But if you don't beat the Broncos, I think a lot of bad things will happen
Yeah.
within the organization.
Correct.
But I'm pulling for them because I don't think the Steelers are there to win the AFC North anymore. I don't think it's going through Pittsburgh right now, and I really don't like the Ravens. So I'm pulling for the Browns to.
So yeah,
show
I think
some
the
life.
Browns will get Williams from the Redskins, and I think the head coaching trade that you could maybe see is Tomlin going bye.
What does the team have to offer? What are the Redskins? Because that's who you're talking about.
I
right?
think the Redskins will go all in.
What did the Redskins have to offer? 2 first-round
I
draft
think they
picks
would-
the next few years,
Easy.
and that's just because when you hire a coach, that hires a culture, right?
Correct.
And I mean,
I just think they're going to give up. I think you'd have to give up around 5 to 6 draft picks, 2 of them being first rounds, and a few players.
I know that's not a coach's decision, but how do you coach a team that literally you're like stuck?
I don't know.
I mean,
It's only happened like 2 or 3 times.
John
John
Gruden was the last one.
Gruden, yeah, and then I think Ditka was in there too.
I just remember Ditka was famous for getting
Ricky Williams.
and he gave up the whole draft class.
Unloaded the Saints, to the Saints.
I mean, it worked out for him. I
But
guess.
here you go. Yeah,
Ricky Williams was a stud, but
I think that was like 5 first-round picks or something stupid.
no, it's 1 through 7. They gave him all seven picks.
Oh, there you go. The whole entire draft.
Oh, Herm Edwards was
Herm
traded.
Edwards.
There you go. Thank you. So yeah, it's
So
crazy.
I mean, it's not an ordinary, but I think if the Redskins could win, I don't I assume they play this weekend. If they would win this weekend, whew, they could be all in.
Why would it winning matter if they go all in or not?
If they could be in a playoff contention or not, because then if they don't win this weekend, they're pretty much done, and then you just wait until after the season to make the trade and reassess everything, see who gets fired potentially, see any offense coordinators that you may want to try to interview or whatever.
Yeah, that is crazy. Why would the Steelers trade?
Belichick was another one.
Why would the Steelers trade him right now? That would be the question, right? And just wait till after the season's over.
The Steelers would do it if they were blown away with a trade package.
So if they said like this offer is just too good to be true.
Correct. You got to do it, and you move on.
I was thinking about this though. Like, what's to stop Tomlin though from getting traded to the Redskins for, let's just say, two or three first-round draft picks, let's just say, and then he becomes a free agent and then comes back to the Steelers.
It's sort of kind of like what LeBron did in Cleveland.
Yeah.
After the first time, he set us up to get Kyrie and some other guys, and then he comes back, how many years later.
Yeah. So he allowed the organization to be good by sucking, and then
correct
came back. Yeah. Yeah, it's a interesting predicament because you don't see coaches traded, but obviously the coach determines the culture that's there.
Correct.
And I'm not huge on Tomlin anymore. Everybody always talks about how he's a damn good football coach, but it's
I would take him in Cleveland in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, because I think Freddie Kitchen's way over his head. But Tomlin versus, I want to show you this.
Actually, I'd take Randy Fitchner.
Well, that's because you have connections.
That's my boy.
I want to show you Tomlin's record against Super Bowl winning coaches is a pretty sad stat. He's like 7 for 13. If I could, Jay Halter Ted, if you could get on that research for me, that'd be extremely helpful. But he has definitely a losing record against Super Bowl winning coaches. I want to find out if somebody could look up for me Mike Tomlin's record against a coach who's won the Super Bowl. So if it's out there, so against Super Bowl winning coaches, what's his record? And I'm almost positive it's in the it's probably in the 300 category. So against good competition or good coaching, he is lackluster. Now, given they've lost to New England pretty much every year for the last 9 years, doesn't help. But if the Steelers make that trade, what happens then? Who do they promote within? Do they go out? Like, it's probably the most prestigious job in the NFL, if maybe not all of sports.
I think if it would happen during the season, Randy would take over.
Yeah, but after the season, they're going to have to. Do you think they're going to extend his contract as a head coach?
Let's not talk about that until it happens. Because it's a moot point. Until it would happen. It could not very happen.
I think it's Jay Halter 10. I think it's the most prestigious job in the NFL to have. There's been only
absolutely.
3.
I would say third.
To who?
I would say Cowboys are number one. That's America's team. And then number 2, you're probably going to laugh. I would say the Oakland Raiders.
Just because of Al.
Just because of the culture, the way that team is, just the way it's been.
Well, thank you for getting into my next topic, because I know you say it's America's team, but did you watch the Steelers Sunday night against the Chargers and how laughable that stadium was? This is the thing that made the headlines. That was a home game for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
and they played their theme song and the whole 9 yards.
So the story goes, they played the Renegades theme song, and then they played Rick Ruled afterwards as a joke. Like, hey, we got you, Steelers fans. You thought they were, but some of the Chargers players didn't understand the joke that was being played, so they got pissed off at the caster guy. Do you know what Rick Rule is?
No.
So basically, it's this. I'll show you. If you're watching.
Yeah, my it's lagging though, of course. Jay Holderton, I don't play memes.
Memes. Let me turn this up. Yeah.
I hear nothing.
Well, it's off the stream, bud.
I'm watching the stream, but I have the stream muted.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, it's Rick Astley, "Never Gonna Give You Up" song. That's what Rick Ruling is. It was an old internet meme.
I could dance like that though.
We would love to see that.
I could for sure.
When
bust out moves like that.
When we start getting submissions, and we start getting subscribers, then you have to be dancing. We have to have it happen. Right. Every time somebody subscribes. But we got to get to 50 followers first, so we're at 26 right now. But anyways, yeah, so the Chargers, it doesn't make sense. I was explaining this to Jackie, is the Chargers up and moved San Diego where they had a fan base, correct?
Yep. Correct.
And then they left them, not because of the fans. The fans wanted them to stay. They left to Los Angeles for greener pastures, and now they lost their San Diego fan base. San Diego despises them because for the most part, I would say the general public despises them in San Diego. And then they go to Los Angeles, who already has a fan base already established because the Los Angeles Rams went to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And then they're building the stadium, and so who's going to root for the Chargers? No one. Absolutely nobody.
You'd root for both teams.
Nobody roots for both. Okay, that's some coach things with the Indians and the Reds. You can't root for the same team.
If they play in the same city, the same stadium, out. The Clippers and the Lakers, different story.
How's that? It's the exact same story.
That's because there's history, and it's like big time history. These two teams don't have a lot of history. They're
going to be creating
multiple times.
Correct, that's going to be a rival, just like the Reds and the Indians. It's an interstate rival, inner-city rival. It's the same with the New York Mets and the Yankees. The same with the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't blame the Chargers for leaving because they couldn't. The city wasn't going to help them build a stadium, pretty much. That stadium they were in, Qualcomm or whatever the heck it was called, was god awful.
Yeah. What GM? Here's a question from one of the viewers. Better owner, Donald Sterling or Jenny Bust?
Jenny Bust.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that as well. All right.
That was an easy question.
So there's a couple. Did you happen to read an article? I meant to send it to you about the playoff football playoff picture changing in the Division III.
No, I didn't read it.
I need to get the coach, Jay Halder-Kidd, if you want to look that up too. I need to get the coach to. There was something proposed that they want to change how the football playoffs work.
Here, I'll try to pull it up real quick.
And basically,
I'll try to pull it up.
So basically, there's 27 conferences right now in the Division III. So if you're a conference champion, you're automatically you're automatically into the playoffs. And then they have 5 at-large bids. Typically, those at-large bids go to somebody that's in Mount Union's conference.
There we go. 2 days ago, I found it.
There we go. As well as somebody in Marion Harding Baylor's, and then somebody usually from the WEAC as well. And so that's something that's going to be interesting to see play out. But the problem with Oshkosh this year is they need to win the WEAC or bust, in my opinion, because they've already lost to somebody who is in Division III football, and then they're not going to win their division. So I think they're going to get trumped by another conference who has somebody that's 9-1 record, for example, that's only lost to the conference championship or champion, but beat everybody else in Division III.
This new rule will only be welcomed in Texas, Southern California, and Pacific Northwest.
So how's that?
Starting this season, the conferences will no longer have to play a fellow conference member in the first round of the playoffs.
So how can a state determine that rule and not the governing body?
I would say those areas probably are good for getting at-large teams in.
Yeah, because
like the WEAC, you never see an at-large get in. They noted here 99, 2001, 06, 08, 12, 13, 15, and 18. You had conferences playing each other in the first round.
And that's probably because of location, right? Reasons?
Yeah, location. Like Mary Hardin Baylor had to play Hardin Simmons in 15 and 18.
And Hardin Simmons is usually a top 10 team, and they're having to play.
Yeah, and actually, they played him in 2008 as well.
And so they had to play the national champ. That makes sense. So
right out of the chute.
So basically, what that rule is saying then is that Division III isn't nationwide.
Correct.
You have a lot of teams you have like a north presence. You have obviously an east presence, and then there's really nothing between California and Wisconsin, or California and Texas. So anytime that California teams made, they're going to play other California teams. So now that first round looks like they're going to have to travel if they're the lower seed.
Correct.
Okay. That makes sense.
Just trying to see if anything else. I guess it's a pilot program too for 2 years.
Yeah, because that's going to
see how it works.
Well, that's expensive cost, right? To have a California team or have an at-large team. Like let's just take Oshkosh for example. If you have them have to come over and play a California team, to move 50
Correct.
Guys,
you got that travel budget in there.
Yeah, that travel budget to move. What is it? How many guys can travel typically?
The whole entire roster. You take your whole entire actual roster, not your red gray shirts or whatever.
So so you have what 50, 60 football players on top of that, training staff and coaching staff. You're looking probably close to about 100 people that you have to get hotel, travel, and then. But the NCAA covers that cost, correct? If it's playoff football?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so I guess it's not against the school, so the schools won't fight against that, but you might see the NCAA not want to put that money up.
Correct.
Okay. That's it. I like the rule. I think it makes sense because if you have 2 or 3, let's say you had 4 good teams coming out of the California league, the Division III league, then they wouldn't face each other and beat each other up in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to add more to this conversation than and us, Coach.
I'm trying to read this text real quick, buddy.
Text.
Players are important. Players are important right now. All right.
We got a hot take. What do we got? What do you got?
Players. I'm trying to finalize the roster.
Give us a hot take.
Hot take is a jackwagon player. I reached out to 6-8 weeks ago or something like that about catching for us. Has now finally responded and said he has to talk with his parents. Needless to say, I already filled his spot.
Oh, so you're done with
So
them.
now I got to tell him we no longer have a spot for you.
You don't like to pussy fart around with players.
Yeah,
You're either in
you're
or
either
you're
in
out.
or you're yeah. You're not going to do this hoopla thing.
And I
You either want to be a Bison or you don't.
respect that. I think they can respect it. Now, is he a damn good player?
I don't know. I got a damn good player though. I know that.
So
Return.
is there always an exception to the rule? And is there too many kids for the roster? Can you fill out too big of a roster
Uh,
in your league?
our roster limit is 32 is our league max.
And how many do you
But
typically
you
fill?
can go over that till the. We usually go up to 39 is what I usually do.
Because you have so many players,
'Cause
either
guys-
injuries and things like that.
Get hurt or have a vagina or issue or something like that, or just don't want to come anymore.
Yeah. How often?
You have it all the time.
So so last year, I mean, you were a winning program. How many? So how many did you start off with, and then how many did you end with by the end of the year?
39. I was down to 30 before the season began,
Okay. And then
so I lost 9.
did you pick up anybody, and did those 30 maintain
Yeah, we
the whole
picked
season?
up. We picked up 3, I think, to get to 33, and then we lost and pick up more to replace those guys right before we couldn't.
And what are the things that you said that coaches don't really like to have their pitchers throw in those leagues, do they?
No, not really. I mean, that's the biggest thing is going to go get arms. I got one kid today from Washington Jefferson College.
Is that Pennsylvania?
So, yes, sir.
Yeah.
They were in the D3 championship series last year.
Nice. And so.
Yep.
So when you get armed, you have to talk with the coaches to limit their innings.
Not necessarily for those younger teams, but like Ohio State that we're talking with right now that we could probably get 3 pitchers from. Obviously, we're talking to them and walking through the process of where they want those guys at.
And so are you making the connections with the coaching staff to find these players, or do you find the players?
The bigger colleges, you make the connection with the coaching staff. The smaller ones usually can make the connection with the player.
How did you find like the Washington Jefferson kid, for example?
Coach Craig Prince found him.
How did they find him?
I forget how he found him. He had a connection there of some sort.
Okay, with the program.
And then I was able to talk to the kid the past couple of days.
And then that brings up a good question. What do you think of Ohio State baseball? How is Ohio State, top tier in basketball typically, a tier probably 2 now. We were knocked down a peg. Probably a tier 2 school, and then tier 1
You talk
football.
about the 2019 Big Ten champions?
Yes.
They're pretty damn good.
I mean, they're starting to turn around, but I'm saying you want it because did they make it to super regional?
They made the super regional back in 2009 or 2010 with Matt Engel.
Okay.
That was a kid that was from Whitehall.
All right. So what I'm talking a perennial powerhouse. That
usually have to win the Big Ten anymore to get into the NCAA tournament, just because the SEC and the ACC takes every at-large bid in America, just like they do in every sport. So you have to win the Big Ten pretty much, and obviously you're competing with Minnesota, that's dang good anymore. Indiana's on the average now. They have been solid the past couple years. Nebraska was dang solid. Their coach just left, Darren Erstad, though, so we'll see what type of turnovers there. And then there was another good one in there. I forget right off the top of my head.
Michigan, right?
Michigan, yeah, sorry, because they went clear to the World Series championship this year.
Yeah.
They were the only they were one of the 2 at-large teams out of the Big Ten this year.
So that's what I'm saying is like why is Ohio State like just not in the running every year? It seems like we have those solid years where we have
I would say
somebody
recruiting.
it's just harder to recruit in a cold state.
Well, and the other thing is, I found this was one of the things I brought up on one of the other previous pods is Ohio State does things different on the baseball landscape. So an SEC team can go out and tell a freshman in high school, hey, they're pretty much verbalizing their commit to Alabama or wherever, Florida or wherever you want to say. Ohio State cannot not go verbalize that kid, or that kid cannot verbalize the Ohio State, as the university wants it like that, supposedly.
Yeah, and
that's what one of their assistant coaches told me last year, which I found very odd.
Yeah.
So when those players decommit from Florida and stuff, they try to go get those kids.
So now that you have that connection, and we have the we're in the same region, what's the chances of us getting a media pass for Ohio State game this year?
Oh, that's slam dunk.
Easy, huh?
Yeah.
Do you think
all I gotta do is make one phone call?
Do you think we can get a tour of the stadium?
Very possible, because 3 players on that team played for us last year. Wow,
you had 3 from Ohio State.
Only truly 1 from Ohio State, and then 2 transferred to Ohio State.
Yeah, so let's just do the hashtag LLATC to anything. I like that.
We'll be at Ohio State baseball this year. Mark my word. I would like to go, if they play Michigan at home, I'd like to go that one.
Okay. We could go to multiple. I mean, it just doesn't have to be one.
I'll have to try to find out. Maybe if Cincinnati's on the schedule at home, we could see Urban Sun play.
So real quick, we'll touch on hockey. I will get into. We need to get into more hockey in a future episode. Blue Jackets, I believe.
The big news.
What?
We need to get to the big topic. We're running out of time.
Okay, so Blue Jackets, I think are going to be cursed with mediocrity this year. Unfortunately, I do not see them putting up the points they need to put up to compete. Oh, yes, with the recent little Larry child being born, I have not followed up on anything.
If you give me those emails, I can reach out to these people and get us there.
Okay, I will forward those on.
I'm a badass recruiter. You know this.
Tomorrow. That was good. Tomorrow I will get
good one, Jay Holderton. That a boy.
Tomorrow I will get the contact information to the GM, and we will get that going. Number 2, what I need from my viewers is if I need to know if Scary Mofo is still out there in La La Land. I haven't seen him post anything, but I need to have direct messaging.
I think he got killed.
I need to get direct messaging with him. And then last but not least, I know we didn't get to touch on playoff baseball. Here's how it breaks down. Nationals are going to the World Series. I'm rooting for them. Fuck the Yankees, and Astros don't move me. I'm glad they won it that one time, but I'm done with them now.
Go Tanner Rainey.
There you go. All right, so do you think we can get him on the podcast if they win the World Series?
He is a very different character.
That doesn't answer my question.
He don't like the hoopla or any of that stuff, but I could try.
I mean, we're talking about a podcast that has a chance to blow up. He could be the person that gets us to the meteoric rise.
I could try for us.
Very good. The bright lights of LLATC. I'm sure if he's competed in front of how many 10, 20,000 fans.
It's just like we asked him to do a video for our players before Game 3 up in Lima for the championship series. He wouldn't do it. Well, I wouldn't say he didn't say he wouldn't do it. He never responded.
Ooh, the worst. You got that.
He's one of those guys who's like a silent guy. No. Even his host family would tell you that.
That means he used you and abused you.
Who's this? Jay Halderton is Tanner Rainey. He used to pitch for the Cincinnati Reds, and you guys thought it'd be nice to trade him away.
To who now?
The Washington Nationals.
Well, he's in the playoffs. That's why we traded away. Did him a favor.
Oh, true.
All right. Anyways, let's get to the topic at hand. So, this past Saturday, right?
Past Sunday.
Oh, was it a Sunday? Why would they play on Sunday?
It's bitty football for you, bud.
Okay. This past Sunday, a couple local teams met up. I know this is a topic that we covered in the past about how becoming a referee in sports in general is becoming more and more dangerous. You got crazy parents, crazy coaches, crazy kids. And so the articles that I've read and what I've seen is we had two programs playing against each other. You had Licking Valley and Watkins Memorial High School, or Biddy League.
Fifth and sixth grade.
Fifth and sixth grade. Competing against each other. And after the game, one of the players for Watkins Memorial was running his mouth, I think trying to get into a fight or some sort. And the referee did his job, keeping the players separated, trying to get the Watkins guys back to their sideline or get to their locker room. The same with the Licking Valley team to their locker room, keep them separated. This player had been suspended or ejected from a game 2 weeks prior, coming off of a suspension. He's playing in this game, and he gets into another altercation. So, if that tells you anything, and then when the ref was breaking this up, a coach from Watkins Memorial gets involved, pushes, and two coaches from Watkins, but only we'll get into it. But the coaches get involved and push it to the referee, verbally assaulting him physically as well, and get into this big altercation. It had to be broke up amongst fans and coaching staff. From, I'm guessing both teams, I'm hoping both teams stepped in to say, hey coach, you're going way overboard, let's move back.
And the teams that were there to play the next game also got out there and tried to separate guys.
Yeah, so because as a ref, you're there for multiple games, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we'll get into that.
And bitty stuff.
So this coach ended up getting arrested and charged for assault on a referee, correct?
Misdemeanor, not assault.
Oh, misdemeanor. So so that's just a ticket, right? No jail time. Then will
pretty much. You could have jail time. If you want to play the video, it talks about more stuff.
Okay, and so we were able to get is it an interview? Set us up here. What do you got coming here?
It's just a video that shows everything, along with Deputy Chad Dennis talking about it.
All right, so let's just get to
the Licking County Sheriff's Office.
All right. Here's
See
the
if
video.
It'll come up.
Tell me if this is loud enough, guys.
Players. Authorities tell us a ref tried to break up that fight between Licking Valley and Watkins players when the situation escalated. Luann Stoya here now with why deputies say they arrested the coach.
Stuff right here too. Watch.
Deputies are reviewing the videos taken at the field on Sunday. Investigators say the mayhem started with a scuffle between the Watkins and Licking Valley players.
And then the official went to break it up, and the Watkins coach felt that he was a little too aggressive and shouldn't have touched his player.
Coach Christopher Deason allegedly assaulted the referee.
There was multiple individuals jumping the fence, trying to get on the field.
Deputies say Deason was also involved in a second conflict with a parent.
And a punch him in the face.
And are you Mr. Deason, sir?
Deason was taken to jail and pleaded not guilty to the charges at his.
You have to tell me when it's done.
Deason will be released on his own recognizance. But a referee wife says the parents did not set a good example.
This isn't the NFL. This isn't, major football or anything. It's just little kids. Just let them play.
The officials were not hurt, but concerned about what happened on the field.
They repeatedly said they've seen this on TV, but they've never actually been involved in something like this, and it had them shook up pretty good.
We tried to reach out to the coaches and referee, but have not heard back.
There's no reason to ever get on the field. I mean, the game is played, and the officials are there to officiate, and they're there to ensure the safety of the kids. And if there's issues, then there's ways to address it after the game.
The judge told Deason for now he can no longer coach, but he can attend the games. In Licking County, Lou Ann Stoya, ABC 6 News.
There we go. So, obviously, that's pretty crazy, right? And I'm actually gonna post this out to the chat so that our fans could watch if they want to, because I know that the sound was a little crappy there, but what can you do? So, go ahead.
Exactly.
So, obviously, this is exactly what you're talking about, right? At the beginning of the season, you had the incident down in Dayton. Now you have that was a high school game, correct?
Correct. That was a high school game, which not much happened there. Obviously, here hits home, and it was actually a altercation.
And then you have the Heath incident that was also local. Or was it Licking Heights and who?
Licking Heights incident, and the guy who actually got shoved in the referee in this video was on that game with me as well. So,
oh my god, what kind of?
He's had a rough season.
Now, is he a type of guy that is contemplating leaving refereeing? I mean, after these two incidents.
No, not really. I mean, he's just tired of it, like any of us other guys are tired of it. I talked to him Sunday night as well, but he was pretty good about it. So I mean, obviously he's shooken up over it, but the other guys, part of the team, other guys on the officiating of that game, one guy was a younger guy, first or second year. And obviously, he's pretty shaken up and pretty much wants to be done now. So,
and
just because of this.
And did he go on the ref the second game?
Yes, they did. All three of them did.
What a trooper!
Like I told him, I said, dude, I would have probably been out there, but it was two different teams. Obviously, Licking Valley was one of them, but Licking Valley hardly did anything in this game. But it was a different team playing Licking Valley in the second game. It was the semifinal game of the tournament. So
now
he didn't want to call it and stuff like that. So he's there for the kids.
Obviously, you want the repercussion to be that the best case scenario is that just doesn't ever happen, right? And that's everybody's hunky dory, and then you're doing your reffing duties, and that's it. That's what you want to do.
Correct.
But what would make you feel more safe as a ref when this happens? Is it obviously this guy never to coach again? These kids, the kid had already been suspended once. Do you think he should have not been able to play again in the league?
Absolutely, in Biddy League football, yes.
Yeah.
I think obviously those guys will look into that. I know those guys pretty well who run the whole entire league, so I think they will look into that, make that adjustment. But I mean, to make us feel safe is the legislation that's been out there. Senator Jay Hottinger's been trying to push it through for us, which would make anyone who attacks an official, a coach, or a fan, or whoever, it would be a criminal offense and not just a misdemeanor.
So it's a misdemeanor just because they view a ref as
an adult,
as just a normal citizen, right?
Correct.
Whereas, this, which would make a ref kind of like a governing body, right?
Correct. Yeah, it would make us a higher figure of authority, pretty much.
That makes sense.
Which I mean, it needs to be, just because I mean, as many crazy people are out there in this world now.
Yeah.
And as much as crap we got to put up with, and it's nuts. But I mean, this guy could serve jail time. He could not. He could get a slap on the wrist and be moving on, but I think he'll serve some time.
Well, obviously, he's not going to be able to coach
He-
again, hopefully, inside of the Watkins community, right?
I'd hope so too, but he was released on no bond and all that stuff, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, it definitely hits home, and it's scary, but
Yeah.
yes, he's in the Navy Reserves, Jay Halderton.
Well, thank you for that little background information, Jay Alderton.
It's scary to say, but guys, I mean, some of our viewers and some of our friends are military guys, and majority of these guys that you have issues in youth football is military backgrounds.
Yeah. Do you think that's just because it's physically oriented?
Yeah, I mean, it's just they just have that
Too much
instinct.
competitive edge, you think?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have that adrenaline when things happen like that. So,
I mean, I've had.
I mean, there's been numerous comments made of this official harming kids. And supposedly the kid has bruises on him from where the ref touched him, and it's like, for God's sake, your kid's playing football.
Yeah, of course he's gonna have bruises.
Exactly. So it's just crazy to even think about, and those parents saying they want to press charges on him, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I think outside of something crazy that an official does, I think they're pretty much immune to any kind of repercussion when it comes to situations like this. I think it's
Correct.
it,
Which I mean, if anything would happen to him, I would probably seriously consider being done.
Yep. How many more
I mean,
years?
it's just crazy to think about. I mean, all you got to do is have one incident like that and you're screwed.
I mean, I've had similar situations when I was coaching wrestling. I was a little bit too competitive. I said probably bad things, but it was to the kid and not to the ref. And once I did, that was when I was in college, and I checked myself right there, and I was like, okay, I'm a little too competitive for a high school, junior high, whatever sport, even college. It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. I said, there's no reason to get that amped up over something so silly. So,
Correct.
The only other two things that I've ever done similar things is I ruined a friendship with the Jay Holder by I Goldberg speared one of his friends and ruined a friendship. One of his best friends at the time, and totally Goldberg speared him, and I retained the belt of Jay Holder 10 friendship.
Well, you did a wrestling move on a dog too.
I want to say a wrestling move. I was holding a dog, and the dog leaped
No,
off of me.
you did you tried to do a WWE move on Tucker.
That is untrue. On Tucker, I essentially
I
tried
think
to hold
everyone
him.
would confess to that.
Of course you would, because it was hilarious. But that is a good question. I would like to know what was worse. Mofo letting Tucker out to run the streets of Oshkosh, or me power bombing?
Mofo letting him out to run the streets.
I want to hear this from Coach A. Archer and Kelsey Archer. Kelsey, soon to be Archer.
Yeah, next time Coach is on, hopefully we'll remember that question.
Hey, Coach is here. What?
Coach A. Archer, holy cow! Let's go and ask him now.
What was the worst?
Coach,
You got to choose
get on
one
the
or
pod
the other.
with us.
No,
Both suck.
We need to have. We're ending this here soon. So, Coach A. Archer, can you please just answer the question? What was worse?
He said both suck.
I know, but you got to choose one, right?
We need your better half's opinion as well.
Yeah.
I know she's still awake.
If you could get that pulled for us, that'd be great.
Option A or option B?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it is crazy. It's a nutty world that we live in, but all this stuff's just escalating, and I hope they can get it under control.
Yeah, it's a bad situation, but I mean it's
because
scary.
it's too competitive, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's basically, I always said, like, if I was a little league coach, I would make the rule that every kid's gonna play.
Who would say that? You would, Coach A. Archer, or the wife?
Physically harmed.
You need to state these better things.
He said I would say. That's-
You don't know if the wife is typing. What does the wife think?
So, anyways, basically what I was getting to is both of our opinions. There you go.
Both of our opinions. He didn't ask her.
Yeah, he's at JJ Killer Field at Titan Stadium right now, bud. So, anyways, yeah, I want to.
You know why we?
Are you frozen? Yep. The GM is on casting couch right now. Me and Moore probably cut the cord on him. But yeah, I'll wrap this up. Basically, what I was saying was in Little League, I would say you're playing every player, regardless.
Oopsie.
Yeah, no kidding.
You there?
Yeah, what happened to you there, bud?
I don't know what happened. I went bye-bye.
That's what I told you. I told you your internet sucks tonight and you need a better camera.
Sorry, bud. I'm trying these things, all right? I'm on a fixed income.
There we go. Anyways, yeah, fixed income means you're retired. He put his years in at Fastenal. You put your years in at Fastenal. How many?
Yes, I did.
How many years are you at?
And on the football field. 2006, so this is 13.
13 years at Fastenal.
I pay the bill, Jay Holder, on that fixed income, bud.
There you go. So anyways,
you know how it is, Jay Holder.
Let's wrap this up here, GM. So basically what I was saying is Little League, I'm playing every kid. Now, if you have a couple studs on your team, of course you're going to have them. Let's use baseball because it's the easiest way to put it in. You're going to play 1, 2, and you're going to put them at 1, 2, and 3, and they're always going to be your first 3 batters, or even depending on how many studs you have. But then you're going to cycle the rest of the players through every game, in my opinion. Get them at bat,
Correct.
Get them on base, get them playing in the field, because nobody wants to just ride the pine. Until you get to that competitive level, and that competitive level being varsity baseball, I would say, or higher, I would say that you got to get your players. Now, do you see the same thing at the college level? Is your worst player this year? Be honest. Your worst player this year. How many innings did he play?
In my college summer baseball team.
That's correct.
12 innings probably. He was a catcher.
And did he play just to relieve your other catcher, or?
Yes, and then he quit.
Okay, so that doesn't count. But I'm saying, if you had a player that showed up every game, he's playing. Is he playing in those games?
Yeah, sure. I don't understand that question.
I'm saying the kids that showed up to all 30 games or however many you played, right? The worst one on that team, was he still playing in games, or did he just ride the pine the whole time?
He rode the pine
the whole time. Then why?
Yes, that made more sense.
Why would he show up to the rest of the games then?
Still try and get better and support his teammates.
They're not really his teammates though. It's 30 games.
You got that brotherhood in the summer.
Yeah.
On any team you play, you have a brotherhood.
That's what he did. So maybe we can get Jay Halter's perspective. He did it for his brothers. He rode the pine. I just think it's crazy. I think it's crazy to me that in the college level I understand, but for that kid I would also understand if he didn't show up to the games. Like, I'm not going to play, so why would I be there?
That just tells me you're a quitter.
Just.
And you don't want to support your teammates.
Well, it's not about quitting.
I understand summer ball and only 32 games, 42 games or whatever we play. But that's pretty much throwing in the white towel and bailing on your teammates.
But would you do that as a poor college kid that needs to make money?
I would say it's a poor college university and a poor college coaching staff that doesn't get their guys well prepared.
This goes back. This is like the touchy. This is my touchy subject of like, this is the GM's version of gray shirting to Coach A. Archer.
If I bring a player in, he better be at every game, or else he's going bye-bye.
Regardless if he plays or not.
Regardless if he plays or not. Now, it's different if we say stay home.
But you're telling like injured players to stay home, right?
Correct.
On travel days?
On travel days. Even on home games, injured players come. Because they're there to support their guys.
So if somebody gets injured, that's not always true, right? Because didn't you have a cat from Vanderbilt this year that had an arm injury and then ended up not coming for the year?
Oh, that was 2 years ago, but he got shut down.
So when he gets shut down,
his name was Tyler Brown.
Yeah, so when he gets shut down, he doesn't come. Does he go home for the summer? He doesn't even come.
He didn't report.
So you're saying
he got shut down because of innings.
So you're saying if you report in, you're sticking with the team.
Correct.
Very good.
If you show up day one, you better be there.
Or piss
every
on
day
you.
going forward.
Or piss on you.
And I'll never take kids from that university again.
Really? So if you
just like I did this year.
If you got a guy from Ohio State, you're done with him.
Correct.
You got a guy from Vanderbilt, you're done with him.
Kennesaw State's the program I'm talking about. We haven't had very good success. We've had some lazy kids from there, and I've moved on.
What school?
Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State. Wow.
Haven't
even heard of them.
Well, Google them. You'll find out.
Google. All right.
Pretty good baseball program.
Well, not in your eyes.
Nope, not my eyes. You screw me once, screw you, pal.
Well, nice job, TJ. Sorry. Nice job, GM. We're working towards some of those achievements. We put in a good almost 2 hours here, and then
that's a good pod tonight.
That's a good pod. That's the closer we get to that 250 hours total stream.
We'll have a short turnaround next week, as we're probably going to have to go Tuesday since I'll be on the CW Thursday.
I wanted to go, I'm going to go Tuesday, and then I'm probably going to live stream the CW. I'm not probably going to be, I'll interact with the chat, but I'm just going to be playing the stream. Actually, can I play the stream? I'm going to have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Is there a website to watch CW?
Yeah, CW. Yeah, they have you can watch the game from the website.
There you go. That's how we'll do it then.
Yeah. Get Mofo on there to break it down.
100%. I'll make sure that he's in charge, and I want the people out there to be.
He can fill in for me.
Yep, I want him to be. Don't get it.
He could critique me.
So all those viewers out there.
Because all he'll write down is good.
Yeah, all those viewers out there. I don't want you to get. I want you to get ready for those shirt turnarounds.
Shirt turnaround.
All right.
That's how we do it here on the LLATC.
Rock and roll. We're going to talk about sports, little Larry and the coach. We're going to talk about sports, little Larry and coach. We're going to talk about sports and things like chicken wings, a little Larry and the coach. Later, boys.